Imagine the blame she would have received if she would have picked Bernie and Hillary still became the nominee and Hillary lost. They would be blaming Elizabeth Warren. But we're going to start off with Elizabeth Warren. Because Elizabeth Warren doesn't get a lot of coverage for some reason. I think I know why, and I think I'm going to explain why I don't believe she gets a lot of coverage and what she can do about it and what I think she's starting to realize she needs to do about it. There's a lot to like about Elizabeth Warren. There's also some things that people gripe about concerning Elizabeth Warren, and we're going to get to all of that. But what I would like to do first is show you a clip of Elizabeth Warren. She attended and participated in the People convention that was held in Houston, Texas, where a number of candidates, 8 candidates, were able to sit down with these women of color and talk about why you should vote for them. So right after the convention, Elizabeth Warren sat down with Joy Reid, or stood up with Joy Reid, actually.
You think about this campaign, because we look at it, there are so many people running. Mm-hmm. It's such a crowded field. And distinguishing each candidate is complicated, but you are doing it with policy. Mm-hmm. It's a sort of a fire hose of policy that you're putting out. Do you think that voters vote on policy, or do they vote on personality?
You know, look, for me, this is not so much about the vote and the strategies around that. It's about what's right to fight for. So let me give you an example. Right now, tens of millions of people are getting crushed by student loan debt. And the only thing they tried to do was exactly what America had told them to do. Go get more education after high school. Technical, 2-year, 4-year. That's your ticket to the middle class. They did it. The federal government has said, you're on your own. All they did was load them up with debt. So I have a proposal now so that 43 million Americans, 95% of those who have student loan debt, could see their student loan debt canceled.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to stop right there because I want to comment on this thing. This is going to be long, so I don't want to go through the whole thing. I just want to comment there. So Joy Reid asked Elizabeth Warren, she opened up the conversation saying, hey, Elizabeth, you got like a fire hose worth of policies. You're the policy queen. But do people vote based on policy, or do they vote based on personality? And if you notice, Elizabeth Warren didn't exactly answer the question. In fact, she totally dodged the question. And what did she do? She went right to talking about policy. That's right to the policy portion. And this is something I've seen a lot with the academic folks. You know, people who are concerned with data. And I like data. Everybody likes data, and nothing's wrong with being smart, intelligent, well-versed with the details and the minutia of policy proposals and things of that nature. But they always seem to not respect the ability or the power in charisma. They never seem to truly give it the respect that it deserves, nor the weight that it deserves. The ability to make someone laugh, or the ability to make people feel moved emotionally, or to be able to hit those notes. They bring people in and make people want to listen to your policy. Elizabeth Warren is one of those people. I've met them all my life who, for instance, look at what I do and say, oh, well, you know, I know everything. I know all about the House, the Senate. I know all the policy proposals. I read the whole report I read the whole TPP. I know it inside out. And they forget totally that no one wants to listen to you. Because you're boring, or you're condescending, or you're an ass, or you're just bland. You're a mayonnaise sandwich on wheat bread. That matters. So Elizabeth Warren started talking about a policy about student debt. And that's great. Great stuff. I mean, who doesn't want to remove their debt? Yeah, I heard like one guy, like a libertarian dude, I think his name is Sticks. Sticks was saying he didn't want his debt reduced. He'd rather just pay off his debt, you know, instead of like being able to have it like gone. He'd rather just pay on it because he doesn't want to socialize like education. Hey, Sticks. Anybody know Sticks? Tell Sticks I said, speak for yourself, brother. Speak for yourself. My son has a hefty school loan right now, and it's hard for him to find a job. I know it may be easier for you, but I don't know if you notice or not, but a lot of people who end up with degrees, even if they get the degrees, who have all this debt, are having a hard time finding jobs where they can use those degrees. And being as though we're in America where, I don't know, a white guy with a white guy who dropped out of high school is worth about as much as a black guy with a degree, you might see a disparity there. Here's the thing, dude. You may not think it matters or it's not a good idea because you're a Trump supporter. I get it. People support Trump and they want to root for him. But let's keep it real. There are a lot of people who would be helped by not having all that school debt. We got people who with $100,000 worth of debt hanging over their head when they come out of school. There are people almost my age, not quite my age, but I know people who are 40 who are still paying school loans. So, be that as it may. I like Elizabeth Warren's proposal, but I haven't looked at the fine details of it. She's on the right track. Elizabeth Warren has a lot of policies. She has the redlining policy to combat redlining, which I think is very much a policy that needs to be activated. I'm glad she came up with it. I'm glad she's pushing it. She, of course, supports Medicare for all. She also has a policy for a tax plan, right, which will make the richest folks pay more money in taxes. And she quotes and she has all the statistics, and it's very empowering. This is great stuff. Now, in that clip with Joy Reid, though, Joy Reid asked an important question. And I'm often critical of Joy Reid because, well, she's Joy Reid, right? Used to be a Bernie supporter, then went for Hillary and lost her mind, right? But she says to Elizabeth Warren, she says, Elizabeth, let's just say for the sake of argument, you become the nominee. You win. You go up against Trump. With your types of policies, there's going to be a lot of money given to your opposition. And Elizabeth Warren was like, yeah, you're right. I get that. But I will correct Joy on one part. There's going to be a lot of money given to her opposition while she's running in the Democratic Party. Yeah. I mean, there are rich folks who will give money to, say, I don't know, Joe Biden in order to stop Elizabeth Warren from getting a nomination. Because it's a funny thing that happens when rich people's money start getting taken away or the threat of their money going away. They fight back. Yeah, they fight back. You may have heard of it. They tend not to like to lose money. So that's why they're rich to begin with. From, loopholes and tax shelters and putting their money overseas, way away from, us poor, peasants. So Elizabeth Warren is going to have to contend with that. Same as Bernie. In fact, the reason why Bernie Sanders gets slandered so much, and Elizabeth Warren to a lesser degree, is because he's more progressive and he's going after the top 1%, and he's going after the big corporations. So, of course, big corporations have big pockets, and they use that money, and they pay adversaries. It's not rocket science. Same thing's happening to Elizabeth Warren, but the way that she gets stopped is also due to her lack of charisma. And something else I want to get to about Elizabeth Warren. It's her lack of inspiring others. See, this is the thing. See, Elizabeth Warren used to be a Republican. I'm not holding that against her. A lot of people used to be a lot of things, okay? But here's the thing. She's more of a renovator, She wants to renovate the Democratic Party. She wants to renovate some of these policies. Bernie Sanders is more of a revolutionary. He wants to tear it down and build it up, So it's a harder slug to tear it down and build it up. But what happens when the message goes out? Which message is more inspiring? You just want to come in and paint over the dirty walls and paint over the cracks, or if you want to put in new walls and rebuild the infrastructure from the ground up and totally renovate the whole thing, tear it all down, build it all up. Which one inspires more people? Of course it's to tear it down and build it all the way back up. Who wants the house with just a paint job on it, even if it's nice paint? And here's the thing about that. It's not just that, Bernie's more, he's more progressive and blah, 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 like some people would like to say. But the point of it is, it inspires a base. It inspires the base. It makes people want to come out and vote. It makes people not just want to come out and vote, it makes people want to come out and volunteer. And it makes people want to run for office. And it makes people donate. Small dollar donations from a lot of people. That's what you get when you put your foot in the ground and turn hard left. Foot in the ground, hard left. Not gingerly move to the left. And I would be wrong if I didn't also admit that a lot of the fire that Elizabeth Warren could have, she threw it away in making bad tactical decisions. How could you not go and support Dapple? How could you not support the folks that stand in Rock? Here you are claiming, hey, I'm Native American. How could you not go do it? Now, don't get me wrong. You don't have to be Native American to go support the Stand in Rock, the Dakotas and Lakotas. If no Dapple, you don't have to be. But if you're going to claim it and then not show up and then put a little funky little Facebook post up, well, yeah, you're going to piss people off and people are going to go, hey, she talks well sometimes, but we can't trust her to back it up. Not when something's on the line, and when something's on the line is when you show who you are. Speaking of something on the line, I know it was difficult for Elizabeth Warren to even think about not supporting Hillary Clinton. Tough choice. I mean, how do you, as a woman, just say, I'm not going to support the first woman who really has a shot to become president? I mean, it could have been the end of her career, correct? Don't you think people would be blaming Elizabeth Warren like they blame Susan Sarandon? I mean, Susan Sarandon doesn't even hold office, and they blame her. Imagine the blame she would have received if she would have picked Bernie and Hillary still became the nominee and Hillary lost. They would be blaming Elizabeth Warren. You know how they treat Nina Turner. Nina Turner's not even in office anymore. And they still blame Nina Turner. They still dog Nina Turner, call her every name except a daughter of God, because she didn't back Hillary Clinton. To this day, almost 4 years later. So I know it was difficult for some people. Don't take it in consideration. They go, but she should have just went with Bernie. I agree. She should have went with Bernie. But that's what risk takers do. That's what Tulsi Gabbard did, and it cost her. They still trying to run people to replace Tulsi Gabbard in Hawaii as a representative because of Hillary. And also peace, being anti-war, anti-regime change, AKA messing with their money. So Elizabeth Warren has several reasons why Elizabeth Warren is not the flavor of the month and why she is barely inches away from the second string of candidates running for the Democratic primary. But I think she's finally smelt the coffee. She realizes, hey, you know what? Hey, I'm here now. I might as well throw caution to the wind. I might as well be more gutsy. I might as well take more chances. You don't get, look, nothing's promised. I'm going to go for it because of this. This clip I'm about to show you makes me think maybe Elizabeth Warren is woken up.
Our disagreement is a matter of public record. At a time when the biggest financial institutions in this country were trying to put the squeeze on millions of hardworking families who were in bankruptcy because of medical problems, job losses, divorce, and death in the family, there was nobody to stand up for them. I got in that fight because they just didn't have anyone. And Joe Biden was on the side of the credit card companies. It's all a matter of public record.
Yeah, that was Elizabeth Warren calling out Joe Biden by name. She didn't throw something and hide her hand. You know how the politicians do, take a cheap shot at you and then just leave your name out like Buttigieg has been doing with Bernie. Well, you know, some people are just too angry. You need to get along with people. Get along with people. It's better to get along. And so what I'm saying is, if we get along and kiss butt, maybe then we'll get what we want through attrition. Because they'll get tired of kicking our butts. Then eventually their feet will start to hurt, and then they'll stop kicking our butts. And then maybe if we're really nice boys and girls, we'll get what we want. You know, that's Peter Buttigieg. His style of politics, which is really not, you know, bucking trends. So I like the fact that Elizabeth Warren called out Joe Biden. She should. He in her way. He's trying to be in her lane, sort of, kind of, but not really. But still, yeah, go after him. Go. You got nothing to lose, Elizabeth Warren. Go after him. Now, just to kind of, you know, further underline what I'm saying about Elizabeth Warren and her reliance on policy being to her detriment. Though it's great, because then, like, logically you say, Tim, wrong, Tim Black, policy should always carry the day. Okay, I understand what you're saying. You're right, logically. But realistically, how things sound, how things look, how you feel, that matters too. Yeah, it matters too. For instance, now I'm about to play a clip from Steve Bannon on this subject where he was talking about Elizabeth Warren. I don't usually sit around like waiting to watch like Steve Bannon's thoughts on stuff. But just because his name is Steve Bannon doesn't mean he's not right about something sometimes. Check out this clip.
In this Democratic primary, look what he's done to Elizabeth Warren already. She's probably got some of the most well-formed, policy positions, particularly compared to some of the other candidates on the left. He's basically blown her up already. She's in single digits. I don't think she'll break out. And that's because Trump gets a vote in the Democratic primary. That's unlike any time in American history. He's going to get a vote on who his opponent's going to be.
I rest my case. Now, don't get me wrong. I think she can make up ground. I think that it's still possible. But I also would like to submit this idea, guys, before I let this segment go, right? Maybe you're not supposed to be president. Yeah, maybe Elizabeth Warren should not be president. Maybe Elizabeth Warren should serve in some other capacity. I mean, we got a lot of candidates, right? And they're all running for different reasons, right? I think some people are running just to be running to get name recognition, to get a better job, frankly. And why not? You get to run on other people's money. Why not? I mean, really, what are they risking? But I don't think everybody who's running should become president. I think it takes a certain skill set, a certain machine around you, a lot of things. Just because you want something doesn't mean you should have it. Just something to think about. I mean, hey, I wouldn't mind being a all-star rapper. Just didn't have the lyrical ability at that level. I wouldn't mind being Richard Pryor. Probably should have started at least 10 years earlier, right? Maybe, figure skater. Just didn't have a figure for it, yeah? So I'm just saying, like, just because you want to do something doesn't mean you're supposed to do it. It doesn't mean it's owed to you. It doesn't mean that's where your natural fit is. Elizabeth Warren, I think she is amazingly smart. I think that she's a great teacher. Behold, she was a teacher, right? Professor, and a lot of great other attributes. I'm just not convinced yet, right? I'm not convinced that that attribute is leader, risk taker, or true presidential contender. That ain't hate. That's just how I see it. All right, let's move on to the next segment. All right, so Donald Trump. If you enjoyed this content and you find it important and relevant, go ahead and become a subscriber. And don't forget to click the bell so you get more Tim Black in your feed. Thank you.